there's so many names to it. And we've got Marcy Silva and Dayana Sarinana today to do online training with you.
Hello.
And thanks, guys. A little later, we'll have Patricia Miera to help us with Brightspace. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera and share my screen. Let's see if I remember how to IT. You should be seeing the PowerPoint, correct? Perfect. Okay. So our agenda today, I want to just make sure that everyone has a username, and then we'll be doing an overview of Office 365, Zoom, Brightspace, and technology for collaborating remotely. And so we didn't set up a like a poll or anything, but I'm just kind of curious, you know, how many new faculty do we have today? Okay, I see 1, 2, I see at least a couple. Okay, 3, perfect. Okay, and does everyone have a username? Is there anybody that does not have a username?
I don't have a username.
Okay, Marcy and Day, when you get a moment, would you please drop the link to the username application in the chat?
I did add it to the chat, and Naveen, we are working on yours. I think there's a bit of confusion on it, so we're working on yours.
No, I submitted like 3 or 4 times starting in July.
Okay, we'll be looking into that. If anybody has not applied for a username, please do so using the link that that's in the chat. Okay, so first I'm going to do an overview of Office 365. Let's go ahead and switch. I'm going to start in the web because that might be easier to do. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And so the easiest way probably to get to your email is through the portal. And that's if you haven't gone into it before. So I'm going to go to my.nmhu.edu. And that's how you get to the portal. Has everyone been into the portal so far? Okay, if there's anybody that has not, please let me know, and we can go over that as well. So I'm logging in. I've already set up my trusted device, so it shouldn't prompt me for any additional security. If anyone is having issues with that, please let us know and we can work with you on it. And I need to change my password. I'm going to ignore that for now. You'll see your applications. We're going to go to Microsoft Office 365. And the reason I'm showing you the web first is because we can see all the different applications that you have available to you pretty easily. So this is kind of the portal or the home page for Office 365. You've got Outlook, that's your email. That's probably the app that you're going to be using the most. Your Highlands email is your official means of communication for the university, and that's also the same for our students. One of the nice things about your email is you do have the entire user directory available to you, so you can get in touch with any staff or faculty or students. And I'll go into a little more detail on Outlook. I just want to give a quick overview on some of these other applications. Notice we have an all apps here. I'm going to go into that a little bit just to kind of go down the list in just a moment. OneDrive is where you can save files to. You have, Marcy, correct me if I'm wrong, 50 gigabytes of storage space, or is it a terabyte?
It's 1 terabyte.
1 terabyte, thank you. And it is cloud storage. So you have access to it anywhere you have access to the internet. You can share files from there if you'd like. You don't have to. We do have another application in the suite, like if you want to share documents with your department or maybe like a committee or different groups, that would be SharePoint. You've got some online versions of some Word, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint. They're not as robust as what you would have installed on your computer, but they're really nice to have. And then for those individuals who use like a Chromebook where you don't have the luxury of a lot of space, these are really nice to have. And when you create a document in there, it is stored to SharePoint. If we think we have enough time, I can kind of go into a little demo on that, creating documents in there and kind of accessing them. You also have OneNote. OneNote, I would highly recommend if you haven't already checked it out. You can create, I usually use it for meeting notes. You know, I'm on so many different, you know, like I have my departmental meetings, I have different committees that I'm on or different projects that I'm on, and I have a notebook for each one. And again, all of these files are stored on the cloud, so you can either go in here online and access your files, or if you have the application like OneNote installed on your computer, you can open it there and you have more features. Some of the things that I love in there are you're able to put a recording in there. You're able to put you know, screenshots and different things. When I was a student, I used this a lot for taking notes in my class. A lot of the times the instructor would share like the PowerPoint, right? And then, you know, and during lecture, there's always a lot more information that's shared. And so I would kind of make my own notes on what I wanted to remember. And it came really handy for like midterms, you know, to kind of compile everything for studying. Teams, we're going to do a little bit of a demo toward the end of this session. Teams is wonderful for collaborating remotely. You can create a team. Any Highlands, you know, member of the Highlands community can create a team site, and then say who's going to be part of that team, either as an owner who can make changes, or a member who can kind of view things and edit documents and things like that, depending on the permissions that you set. Excuse me, I need to clear my throat for just a second. Sorry about that. You can do chat either within your team or with anybody at the university. So I think Marcy is going to be doing a little demo on that. She can kind of show you the different things that you can do in chat. Some of these other things I haven't really used. Let me just check in all apps really quick. And so you can either go to all apps or in any application that you're in, you just click here. We call this the waffle. It's at the top left. And let's see what else we have in here. Some of these we haven't really used. I know we started to use forms a little bit for developing, you know, not exactly surveys, but, you know, kind of questionnaire type things. And those go into a little bit of like a spreadsheet. And so it's a nice way if you need to gather information. Those are kind of the main ones, unless Marcy or Day, you can think of anything else I should mention briefly before I kind of go into Outlook.
I think that's majority of the ones we use regularly.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. So we'll go into Outlook, and forgive me if my email's a mess. We're pretty swamped. So this is the web-based email. You've got your, you know, all your different messages. You've got a preview pane. Let's see if I click on one of these emails. You've got a preview pane, or you can double click. You can, you know, reply. I think, you know, email's pretty straightforward. I've got some folders set up that that I use pretty regularly. The web-based email, it's kind of interesting. Some people really prefer this to the client-based. What I mean by client-based is the version that is installed. I think you guys are just looking at Chrome. Let me just hang on one second. Let me do a different share. I lost my my bar. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. So this is the client-based email. And so I prefer this way, but you know, if I need to do something kind of quickly and I'm not at my computer and I don't have my phone, I'll jump on to that, to the portal and go into Microsoft 365, get into my email. It's pretty quick and easy. You have access to everything, all your folders, like you normally would. There's just some things that are a little differently. I think color coding is available on the web, but it's a little bit different. I just prefer the interface here. So you can decide what works for you. Now, if you have your Office computer, you should already have Office either 2016 or Office 2019 installed, and you'll have Outlook, you'll have the full, version of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. And if you'd like to install Office on your personal device, you can do that with our license program. I believe it's available to all full-time faculty. It's not really available to adjunct faculty just because of our licensing. Adjunct faculty get kind of a lighter version of that license. Really quick, before I switch gears from Outlook to any other applications, are there any specific questions about Outlook? I mean, to me, email's pretty straightforward, but I don't know if everyone, is pretty familiar with it. I do recommend that you set up a signature line. I'll show you on mine. I think you're not going to see it. Let me just share my screen. So here I've got my name, my title, my phone number. We're working remotely, so I have a link to our business continuity plan. I suggest that you set this up. To do that, we'll go to, I went a little fast on that, File, Options, Mail, and then Signatures. And then I have it in here. You can just customize it. You can put, appropriate font. These things are kind of, I don't know if I would say a requirement, but our branding policy does call for it. So having, certain information in your signature line. And I like to use it for new messages and for replies. That way people have my information available to them. This is something that you can do on the web as well. Just missed that really quick. I kind of take shortcuts on the web, and I go to the wheel over here, and I just type signature. So email signature, and I've got the same thing already set up. It's not an automatic thing that it'll go across the different versions between the web and the client, and also your phone if you do set it up there. But I think it's good for students to be able to be able to get in touch with you, and also colleagues. Marcy, do we have enough time to do a demo on OneDrive, OneNote, and SharePoint?
Yes.
We do? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to return to the tab for Office 365. I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do create a document in Word so you can kind of see it. These are recent documents I have in either in OneDrive or in SharePoint. So we'll create a new blank document. And give this a chance to finish loading. So notice it has the ribbon like you normally do. You can click on the three dots. No, here it is. You can open in desktop app if you have it installed. So if you do happen to open a document from OneDrive and you don't want to edit it here, you just open a desktop app and you'll have the full functionality. Before I do that, I just want to show you really quick. It gives it a default name. We're going to click on the name and just do test doc. I probably have a bunch of other test documents in here. Test doc 4. And then we'll open in desktop app. And we'll go ahead and open it. Always be careful when you're opening things, especially if somebody else created them. And here it is in Word. And so you have the full functionality here. So we're going to go ahead and continue here. And Marcy will go a little more into detail on some shared documents, things that you can do here. But I'm going to switch. Remember I said we could go to the waffle. We're going to OneDrive. And my OneDrive, I'm going to be honest, is probably a bit of a mess. I highly recommend oops, went to OneNote. Yeah, sorry guys. OneDrive. I highly recommend that you keep your files organized. So I'm going to search for test doc 3. And it looks like it didn't rename that document 5. Let's try that again. Oh, there we go. Okay. So you can do searches for your files. You'll see all your folders in there, that sort of thing. Any questions as far as OneDrive? I didn't show you how to share a folder or a file. So let me cancel my search. You should have the option. Okay, so when you're looking at your folders, you can click the 3 dots, and it's the same thing for your documents. You have the option to share. You have the option to download the entire thing. That way, if you need like a backup or anything. One of the really cool things, and I almost forgot to mention it, you can sync your files. So yeah, these are on the cloud, but you may not have internet later. You can download these items. Let's see here, to your computer. Let me go into a folder. So like this particular folder, I can sync it, and then I would find it in my file explorer and then just be able to, open and work on things right away. Normally, if you have access to the internet, it's not an issue, just something to think about if you don't always have access to internet. Marcy, did I forget anything important on OneDrive?
Not on OneDrive. You do have a request in the chat to do the process for the signature line again?
Sure, and I can do both. I'm not sure if it's for web or client. So we'll return to the waffle. We'll go to Outlook. We'll go to the wheel here. It's at the top, almost all the way to the right. And then, like I said, I'm kind of lazy, so I just usually search for things, signature, and then click on email signature. And mine's already in place, but normally if you've never set this up, it'll be blank. And so you just put your contact information in here, and then you check which emails you want this on. So like before, I like for it to be on new messages and for replies. And then in the client, let me close this. So you'll see file here at the top left. You'll go to options, and then you'll go to mail. Please let me know if I need to slow down. And then signatures. And then again, it'll be blank if you've never set it up, but you just, you'll have to give it a name. So like if I set up a new one, it'll ask for a name. And then this will be blank and you just fill it in and select for new messages and for replies. Like I have two different signatures. I think this is one when we're getting ready to go live with the portal. So we were asking people to sign in, and so we added that to our signature line. So that's one thing. You can have multiple signature lines and change them up as needed. Were there any other requests, Marcy?
Just thanks. That's it.
Perfect. Okay. Now SharePoint is pretty similar, except that it's for groups. And so that's something right now that you would request from ITS. If you want it like a true SharePoint site, and it would be kind of a classic site that's mainly for file sharing. I'll show you a quick messy example with one of our ITS ones. We were using this for documents. Let's see here. I think that might be Teams. Let's go in here. So we have like a department SharePoint, and then we have our subgroups, right? We have our help desk, we have our enterprise apps team, and we have our infrastructure team, and they all have their own little sub-sites. And so it kind of works for us for the most part. And so this is a classic site. It's kind of, in my opinion, a little boring, and it's mainly, you know, document sharing. So we have all these folders. Oh, I don't know what Outlook is doing. There's a different type of SharePoint site. It's called a modern site, and we're still kind of learning that one. We have some training set up for the week after classes start, and you know, that way we can have a more robust type, you know, SharePoint sites. But in my opinion, I'm really liking Teams a lot more, just because of the amount of ownership that the campus community, you know, like individuals can have, or groups that can have. They don't rely so much on ITS. And again, Marcy is going to go into a little more detail on that shortly. Real quick, let me just kind of show you Teams. I mean, not Teams, I'm sorry, OneNote. So I use OneNote. I have a ton of different meeting notes here. So I have different things like, and I made new tabs in here. This is my ITS notes. I've got miscellaneous information, kind of like how-to kind of stuff, you know, meetings, kind of to-do lists. And so these are all my different notes. And so like staff meeting, right? And I put, you know, check boxes and things like that. Let me start a new page so I can kind of show you. So here's a new page at the bottom. I'm going to give it a name. We'll call it Development Days Demo. And I usually put a date, even though it has it there. In there, it's just a little bit easy. You can see here on the side, you can read the date. So we'll put 20, and Adele presented on Office 365. This is the client version. This is the one that's installed. Show everyone how to make a, this is going to be really lame. I'm sorry, guys. How to show everyone how to make a checkbox. So that would be like a to-do item right at a meeting. So you have your ribbon, just like you do with Word and the other Office products, right? So we'll put a little checkbox, and let's say, oh, well, I did that, right? So we'll check it off, and we're good to go. There's other little features in here that you can use in here. I don't really use too many of these ones. I use the checkbox a lot. You can, excuse me, you can insert different things. Like I said, you can do audio recordings, you can do video recordings. They're really handy to have. Let me grab an attachment really quick from, like, let's say an email. I'm going to grab the scan document. I don't know what that is. I think it's just a test scan. So I'm going to just click and drag this from email to, where is my development days? I'm just going to drag it over
Adele,
here. I'm sorry.
that's not a test scan, so as long as it doesn't show it, we're good.
Okay, thanks, Marcy. So we're going to attach this in here. I'm not going to open it because apparently it's an actual
It's
document.
yes, it's confidential.
Thank you, Marcy. Always check before you try to open something. And so I could just double click this and open the document. It's really, really handy to have. Like if someone shares handouts or something, you know, you'll have all of this at hand. You can do a search. Let's say we'll do, I don't know, I'll do portal because I know I have a lot of portal notes. And so everything with the word portal comes up and you can kind of narrow it down and then you just click on whichever option you have. I'm going to go ahead and delete that before I get myself in trouble with it. Going back to the web, we're going to go to OneNote. And so I've got, let's say I'm like, what notebook did I put that development days in? Let's see if it'll help me out here. It may not have synced right away. But you can do a search in here. And it's, like I said, it probably didn't sync just yet, but you can see like the different notebooks. And it's actually searching through all my documents. So it's got some, this might be a PDF. It's got some Word documents. And so you can fine tune your search a little bit and search for your documents. That's a really brief kind of overview on OneNote. I really recommend that you check it out. You can have multiple notebooks. Like I had the one for ITS notes. I have one that's specific for our portal project, which I have actually shared with the help desk team. And then I have like a personal notebook that I keep, you know, whenever I take a class, I put notes in there for the individual class. So you can think of different ways that you can apply this to your own uses. Lastly, before I kind of end on the Office 365, before I switch to kind of like phishing training, wanted to let you know about the 5 licenses that you have for installing Office on your own personal device. And I believe, okay, so from anywhere in Office 365, if you click on the waffle and go to Office 365, you're going to get back to the home page for Office 365, and you'll see Install Office. And I believe, okay, so Office 365, correct, Marcy?
Yeah, so if you do the apps, it'll install, depending on what kind of device you're on, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook,
Publisher.
Publisher, and Access for Word. For Windows computers. For Macs, it's a little bit limited. I don't remember exactly which ones they are.
Yeah, it's not as many.
Yeah. And then depending on like Surfaces or phones, anything like that, you would have to install them individually, each individual app.
Right. And so for the smartphones, you would just go to the App Store and you would search for, like Marcy said, the individual app. So if you're looking for Outlook, you type Outlook, and what it'll do is have you sign in with your NMHU account. It'll be like a purple page. It looks similar to the one you use to log into the portal. Remember, just use your username and your current password, not the whole email address, and then it'll install that app for you. And you should already have it set up automatically. And then I think once you're signed in for one app, it won't prompt you for the rest of them. So like if you wanted to install OneNote or Teams on your phone, you shouldn't have to sign in again. You just search for it on the App Store. So let me switch back real quick to my PowerPoint, and we're going to go over phishing training real briefly. So from time to time, you might receive a suspicious email. It could be, they're usually from external users. Sometimes we do get a compromised account, like a student account or something. And phishing emails create problems for us in several ways. Like an account that's compromised might be used to send out other phishing emails. And if those are sent from our domain, from nmhu.edu, our emails wind up getting blacklisted or blocked. And so that creates issues with trying to communicate with people, right? They can lead to financial cost. Like we've had some situations where I can think of like students were targeted. You know, they got an email saying, oh, we have this job opportunity, send us some information. And they either gave money or they wound up cashing a check that, you know, bounced. I don't think we had that situation here at Highlands, but I've heard of it. It's very time consuming to deal with compromised accounts. It's time consuming for ITS because we have to go through the process of resecuring the account, and sometimes it's multiple accounts. It's also time consuming if we have to lock down your account and you're not able to access for a few hours or so. And then the biggest thing is it creates threats to our technology environment. I mean, who could forget our cyber incident from last year, right? Now, that's not to say that it was caused by a phishing email, but you know, our email is probably one of our most vulnerable areas where people can just send information to us. So a few tips on how to spot a phishing email. Make sure you see who sent the email. Number one, do you know this person? And make sure that the email address matches the name. So like, I'll show you a couple examples in a second. Some people will be claiming to be the provost, right? It'll say Roxanne Gonzalez on the sender, but if you actually look closer, it's a Gmail account. We've seen that a few times. So again, look for suspicious links. You know, from time to time, like ITS will send links for different things, but you can always hover over the link and just make sure it's going to go where it says it's going to go. If it's within the Highlands domain, you should be good. If it's going to, I don't even know, some weird site, but it says, you know, the title of it says it's something legitimate, you got to really question what's going on there. And then don't open any attachments. Don't be like I was earlier, not knowing what the attachment was. Don't open those until you know they're safe. If you're suspicious, you can contact ITS and we can look into it. Some of those are a lot easier for us to spot than others. Some of them are getting a lot more sophisticated. And you can always, you know, if you know the sender, you can check with them. Hey, did you send this to me? And find out that way. So I'm going to show some recent phishing emails. Some of them are a little bit older, but the style will still kind of apply, right? We had this one a while back where they claimed to be President Minner, and you'll see that it's not really President Minner. It's some other email address, and they actually went so far as to get, you know, his picture, which, you know, is available online, and they have a link in here. I don't have the you know, where it was leading to, but you know, just be, you know, on the lookout. I don't know that you can see this one very well. Let me see if I can make that bigger. Sorry about that, guys. This one is also one claiming to be from President Minner. They actually got his signature line information. So there's a number of ways they could have gotten that. This one has an attachment. Always be suspicious of attachments from people, you know, you don't know. It's not from President Minner's email. It's not from Carolina. It's not from, you know, news at NMHU. It's from this Mary Ellen O'Brien, right? Some of them will look like a Dropbox or a DocuSign type email. This one has, you know, the link in it. You know, they try to scare you into thinking that that you're going to lose your account or something, be suspicious about that kind of stuff. You know, you can always call ITS. We'll share our contact information at the end of this. And one more, your password will expire today. It's got a link. We will send out, you know, reminders about your password expiring. But you know, you don't have to click on a link in there. You can, you know, do Control-Alt-Delete on your computer. You can go through the portal. That pop-up that I ignored earlier, it does have a little button. You can click on it to go change your password. This is another one. This is one where they're trying to get money out of you. And so it's not necessarily asking you to click on anything and give your password, but it's wanting you to go back and forth. So be suspicious of those. Paula was our comptroller at the time, and so they made it look like it was from her, but actually it was from this email here, this at Comcast account. Let's see, we got here another verify account. We never have to verify your account. You know, and if we did, we would probably reach out by phone, you know, and speak with you like that. We wouldn't have you click on a link. This is one of the most recent ones that we had. I think this went out yesterday or Monday.
Yesterday.
Thank you, Marcy. And so it's got a link in there, and I believe this one was asking for username and password and other security information. And unfortunately, this one did come from a legitimate Highlands account, a former student account. So you know, we're looking into that a little bit more, but just be aware that things can come from actual Highlands accounts and they can still be bad. What to do if your account is compromised. So if you do click on one of those emails and give your account information, we recommend that you immediately change your password. You know, you might realize this at 12 midnight, right? And we're not open at that time. So just change your password. You can do that through the portal. You can do it on your work computer. If you're on the domain, I believe you just do the Control-Alt-Delete. You and then contact us as soon as you can. There's our phone number on the screen, 505-426-2215. We're going to work with you to re-secure your account. And then we also want to check your email for any new rules. There's a few other steps we want to take, but the rules is kind of important because depending on what the individuals are doing with your account, they might set up rules that send, you know, certain emails to your junk, to your deleted items. And we've seen situations where they tried to, you know, change your payroll information, you know, the direct deposit information. And when HR would send emails to you, those would go directly to the deleted items folder. Now, HR has changed their process as far as direct deposit, but just things to be aware of. You know, keep an eye out for any suspicious activity. And if you even suspect it, just change your password, just, you know, to be on the safe side. I'm realizing I forgot to share some documents with you on how to mark email as safe. Sometimes legitimate emails will go to your junk folder. And so we have some instructions for that. Team, if you could please put that in the chat. And that'll be some instructions for you to follow if you do have that situation come up, and there'll be instructions for both the client version and the Outlook on the web. Something to be aware of if you're emailing outside of Highlands, our emails sometimes do go to junk. In particular, we've been seeing that with Gmail, so just let your recipient know to check junk if they haven't received the email. All right, well, I think I've gone a little bit over my share of the time, and I apologize for that, but are there any questions real quick on Office 365? Okay, thank you, everyone. Let me, okay. And Day, go for it.
Awesome. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so my name is Dayana Sarinana, and I will be going over Zoom with you guys today. So I'm going to go over just some things that you can do using Zoom, since this semester we will be doing a lot of online distance learning. Every time a username is created, a basic Zoom profile is created for you as well. As a faculty, you do get a licensed account. If you realize that your account is not licensed, please contact the ITS help desk, and then we can just go ahead and upgrade your license. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to show you on 2 ways for you to access your Zoom account. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I will also be turning off my camera as well. Okay, so the first way we're going to do it is, of course, through your Zoom, through the My MA2 portal. If you already have access to the portal, if you scroll down under My Apps, which can be found on the home page or on the navigation side, you'll see an app called Zoom. You just have to click on that, and then it will direct you to your Zoom profile. As you can see, you have a personalized ID number for personal meetings, which you can change using the edit feature right here. What I recommend for most users is, if you have an extension here on campus, I would recommend changing it to your full office number, just so it's easier to access. So as you can see, if you're licensed, it will say licensed down here. On the left-hand side, we have some items that are useful for creating meetings. If you click on meetings right here, you can schedule a new meeting. And like I said, as a licensed user, you can go up to 7 hours a meeting if you'd like. It will create a Zoom link for you. And then I'm so sorry, I lost track of where I am. And there are some additional features on here as well that you could see. You can set up the time, the duration. If it's a recurring meeting, meaning that this link can be accessed at any time, at any point during the year. And then you also have some options down here on what you want to set it up as, such as enabling before host, and then using authenticated users for use. Adele, if you don't mind, we can go over the Zoom update that we'll be having next month. Since you can see there's a security feature that we do have here, which will require that the Zoom link has a passcode or a waiting room.
Sure. Day, if you want to cover it, or if you'd like me to say anything about it.
Sure. So I'll cover what I can, and then let me know if I miss anything, okay?
Sure.
Awesome. So in September 21st or the 19th, we will be
September
Zoom.
27th.
Oh, I was off. 27th.
Yes.
Zoom will be implementing a new security feature in which Zoom links will require a passcode or a waiting room. This is just an additional security feature that they added to prevent Zoom bombing from any unwanted users from joining your Zoom link. I believe that is all right, Adele, or did I miss anything?
No, that's pretty good. Yeah, so there are some things we need to phase in this this update. If we do nothing, then on September 27th, these features will be turned on by default. But we do have some meeting URLs that are already created, right? And so I know that for some like reoccurring meetings, you just put the meeting ID in there, and and then click on it, when you're going to go to the meeting. We need to make sure that users have the waiting room already enabled, or let users know that the changes are going to happen to those meetings. We need to also make sure that everyone is signing in as a host, and I believe, Day, you're going to be speaking about that in a moment, right?
Of course.
Okay, and then what other changes? If you choose to use the passcode instead of the waiting room, because you can set these up already, like Day just showed you some settings on a meeting that she was creating there. You could choose one or the other, right? Be sure that you're sharing the meeting ID that has the passcode embedded. Dave, do you want to show that really quick, what that looks like? And Arcadius, I
Yeah.
see your hand up. We'll address you in just a moment.
Let me just get this up real quick. So we're gonna go ahead and put a passcode on this Zoom link. As you can see, it already creates one for you. You can create one of your own if you'd like. Let me just disable this one. Go ahead and create the Zoom link. And it's down here. So you'll get a summary of the Zoom link that you just created with all the information. Right here, you'll have the passcode, which you can see what it was set as. And I believe this would be the link right here that you would set off to share.
Right, and if they don't have the embedded passcode on there, they would have to enter that passcode. Day, can you? I think that's everything we needed to say as far as the update. We'll have some globals going out about it, just so you're ready. But just as a preparation, you might even just consider turning these features on right away so you're ready to go. Day, can you go into a little bit more depth on the recurring meeting so they can see how to? Oh, I think you might have to set up a new one. Sorry.
No problem at all. Yeah.
Yeah, if that meeting's going to happen at any time, that way the meeting ID is available.
Of course. So when creating a recurring meeting, as you can see, you really won't have to worry too much about the when or the duration time. You'll just click this check mark right here where it says recurring meeting. And if it's a meeting happening daily, weekly, monthly, that's fine. But I would suggest the no fixed time, so that way this link is available whenever needed. And once you select that, that sets it up. But like I said, if it's a Zoom link you're going to use daily, you can put how many times you want it to be used during a day, when it's the last time it can be accessed, as in a date, end date, and then like how many occurrences you like to have it. But in general, everybody just uses no fixed time, and that will make the link available for any time, for any meeting, as long as the user has the correct Zoom link and passcode if needed. So with that, I would actually like to go with you guys on Zoom features, what you guys will see as hosts to your own Zoom meetings. And since we are on Zoom, I did create a PowerPoint just to make things a little bit easier. So when you open up your Zoom link to your personal meeting or for your Brightspace course, this will be the screen you will see. You know you will be a host when you see all these features at the bottom, such as security, participants, record, and breakout rooms. So we're gonna go over audio and video, which were on the left corner. So this is, for example, if you're having audio or video technical issues, for some reason you can't hear somebody, they can't hear you. Oh. Sorry, lost my train of thought. So as you can see on the microphone on the bottom right corner, you can select the speaker and microphone that you would like to use. By selecting the test speaker and microphone, it just runs you through some quick sound testing and audio speaking, just to make sure that everything is working correctly. When you may have noticed that when you logged into this Zoom, it might have asked you if you wanted to connect to computer audio. Go ahead and hit yes, and it should detect the devices. Then we have the video icon right next to the microphone, which will allow you to select the camera, and as if you like, you can choose a virtual background as well. And then we'll go more into depth into the Zoom features, such as the icons. You probably do not see any of these icons right now since you are just a participant. But like I said, once you're a host, you will have access to these. So for example, the security feature is new to Zoom because of our current Zoom bombing that's been going on since about March. As you can see, you can lock the meeting, you can enable the waiting room, share your screen, chat, you can rename or unmute. So if you unmark these, this doesn't allow participants to do any of that. So for locking the meeting, it means that no one can go into the meeting even if they have the meeting ID. You can stop participants from sharing their screen, from using the chat, or from changing their names or unmuting themselves. Next, we have participants. If you click the participant icon, you'll see you get a list of all the participants in your meeting right now. If you can invite them using the invite, you can mute them all at once. Or if you like, by choosing the three little icons at the bottom of the chat, you can be asked to unmute all of them, set up some more extra security features, kind of like just what was in the first tab. Another feature that Zoom has is polls. So these are like questions you can ask your students on Zoom if maybe you'd like to have a simple discussion. So what you would do, you click on polls. The first image will appear to add a question. Go ahead and click on that. Do know you will be redirected back to your Zoom profile. This is a new feature they just changed. Once redirected, you can put your question, your multiple choice, single choice, up to you. Once you hit save, as you can see, it'll take you back to your Zoom and it will have the questions ready for you. And once you are ready, you can just launch the polling and they'll be sent to your students on Zoom. And then a report will be given back to you with what their answers were. The next feature is chats, as some of you have already been using during this session. You can either chat with everybody who is on the Zoom session, or you can just specifically choose who you like to speak with. You also have the option to send a file. If you click on the file icon, this pop-up will appear where you can just go onto your desktop, your OneDrive, pull that file from anywhere that you'll need to be. And then as a host, you can minimize the content, the chat activity. You can either have them not chat with anybody, with only the host or the whole class. That's something that you have control over. The next feature is share screen, what I'm doing right now with you. As you can see, when you hit the share screen, anything that you have open on your computer, whether it be a Word document, PowerPoint, the internet, there will be a short icon to it. What I recommend though is that you always share just your screen number 1, because if you choose to share just like, let's say just one Word document, that's all you can show. And then you have to do a new reshare, and then it gets a little a hassle every time. Whenever you're sharing videos or anything with audio, make sure you select down here on the bottom left corner, share computer sound, sorry. And then you'll just hit share and students will be able to hear the audio coming from the videos. The next option you have is the record option. If you look right now on the top left, you should see like a recording option on the top, meaning that the session is being recorded. As usual, I like to let professors know, to let their students know that they are being recorded, just so that way students know that if they wanted to request a copy of the recording, that they can. As you can see, once you hit record, you have the options to pause the recording, to resume the recording, and then of course to end it. It is stored in our cloud-based, and you do get a email to your Highlands account with a shareable link in which you can share with your students, so that way they can access the recording. The last feature that a lot of professors like to use is the breakout rooms, and this is really good for activities, for group activities. As you can see on the left-hand side, so when I was doing this, it was just me, but if you have about maybe 30 students, if you hit the automatically option, it will automatically divide those students for you into different groups. Or if you prefer to do it manually, you can also do that. You'll just create the rooms. And then in the middle, you'll see all the breakout rooms, which you can rename, and then you can even see who's in those breakout rooms as well. You also have the option to recreate the Zoom rooms. For example, if maybe you just want to switch up the students, click recreate, and you'll get the pop-up to be able to create different rooms. The options down here, as you can see, will allow you to open up to the image right here on the bottom right, which allows participants to different settings. You can set it a timeout. For example, if you want an activity to be only 10 minutes, you can set up a time limit for 10 minutes, and then it will automatically close out, and it will take everybody to the main session as well. The one thing I asked people to be very careful about is about this open all rooms. If you select that option, it allows students to go to whatever room they want, and then they can do it whenever they want, and it'll just be a confusing mess. So just be careful with breakout rooms, but I know a lot of faculty and adjuncts really like this feature on Zoom.
Dave,
Yes.
sorry. One of the questions is there a way to record breakout room sessions?
Sadly, there is not. There is no way to do that, because even if you're recording and then you go into breakout rooms, when you look at the video, it's just complete silence and no one can hear each other. So you can't really record the breakout rooms, unfortunately. So does anyone have any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
This is Cheryl from Registrar's Office. So we were talking about possibly setting up a Zoom like link or account for our office in general, to be available to faculty, staff, and students as another form of contacting us. I know you said with the license one, you're able to be on for a total of 7 hours, correct?
Yes.
So is there a way that we could be on it and still attend like another Zoom session, like if there's like a training coming up or something? So then that way we can make sure that it's always manned while we have our office hours?
I don't believe we can do that, correct, Marcy? I don't think we can join
So,
more than one session.
if you're on this session and you wanted to do a Zoom call or something else to help a student, you would have to exit out of this meeting and open the other one. You can't do both meetings at the same time.
I that's what I thought, because I've done that before, but I didn't know if there was like a different way. And then I guess my next question would be, I know that we all have it set up through our banner, but is there a way to like link it to like our registrar email, like our general mailbox? Like if somebody like was trying to get a hold of us on Zoom?
Oh, so you wanted to like add the Zoom link to your, possibly your signature?
Well, I mean, technically, if we had it like operational, say 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, technically one of us would have to be logged in to man it, correct? Like, there's no way of giving us like a notification.
So you do get a notification if you have the waiting room, or if there's somebody in that meeting, you do get a notification that there's somebody waiting. The only thing is it sends the notification to the host and co-host, right, Marcy?
Okay.
Or is it just host?
I believe only
just
the
the host, yeah.
Yeah, just the host will get a notification.
Okay. And then is there an amount of breakout rooms, say if we wanted to do a breakout room for every single staff in our office, that way, because we don't want like PII getting out, you know, see if there's multiple students or faculty or whoever inside our like our normal Zoom, would we be able to do that amount of breakout rooms?
Yes, the limit, if I remember correctly, last time I saw was 50.
Okay.
So yeah, you definitely have the option to create as many breakout rooms. The only thing is that you just have a reasonable number of participants for it to break them up. Like I said, you can do it manually, where you can do it yourself and put somebody from your staff with a student. If you do that automatically, it does it for you. So I would recommend using the manually option for that.
Okay. And then I guess my last question would there be a way to set it up to where it would be like under the registrar email instead of like our own personal like login with Banner? Is that possible? So then that way like staff are able, I don't know, I guess it would be like 2 accounts then, right?
So for that one, the registrar is a distribution group, not an actual mailbox.
Yeah.
And so I mean, we could technically create a different email account, but it ties up, I think it would tie up a license with Office 365 and also with Zoom. Let's talk offline a little bit more about that and explore some options there, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome, Cheryl.
Anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, I have a question about waiting room. So, do I understand it correctly that we are required to use waiting room now? And also, how do I admit people from waiting room to, well, the main screen, I guess? So I opened my Zoom link, right? I joined as host, and I'm waiting for students to call me during my office hours. And will I see something on the screen that somebody in the waiting room, or will I get this in email, or how does it work exactly?
So you will see a message when you're in your Zoom class, and if you pull up your participants, you'll get a notification that there's somebody waiting in the waiting room. It'll probably like a blue bar.
Okay.
I saw it a few times when I was doing my presentation, and all you have to do is just allow them in. But there is a way for students or faculty to bypass the waiting room. They just have to sign in through our Zoom client, which everybody has access to and which is installed once you access Zoom for the first time. But yes, you will get notified that you have somebody in the waiting room, and then you can let them in.
So would you rather suggest to give all students in class a passcode, and that way they don't have to wait in waiting room?
So it's 2 separate things. The waiting room that you have to let them in, or the passcode where you give them a passcode, which is created. It's up to you on what your preference is. Because the waiting room, you can let them in, the passcode lets them in automatically.
Okay, thanks.
Of course. And that actually kind of gets me back to the whole Zoom client, which is installed on your computer every time, the first time that you logged into Zoom. And actually, let me see if I can share that real quick. So you can't really see it that much because I'm in a current meeting, but this is the Zoom client. If you go to your desktop.
We can't see it.
No, that's
No.
what I thought, sadly. Let me see.
You can get a screenshot and put it in Word if you want, Day. But we are also going to do some additional training on Monday too. And we have instructions for the Zoom client, right?
Correct, and I was just actually going to open up that document.
Oh, perfect.
I was like, we'll just go ahead and open that document that we have here. Oh. Oh, there we go. Here we go. So this is for the Zoom client. If you have a Windows computer, if you go to the bottom right,
You're not sharing the right one.
We're
We can't see
Teams.
it. Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot how to ID halfway through the presentation. How about now? Can everybody
Now
see
we
the
can
word?
see it.
Awesome. Yes, as I was saying, if you look on the bottom left corner where it says type here to search, go ahead and just type in Zoom. And what should pop up is the Start Zoom icon right here. And you can go ahead and open it up, and then you'll see this. This is the Zoom client. If this is, the only thing is that because you are in a Zoom session right now, it probably won't appear as the image here because you are in a session right now. This is for how Mac users can access Zoom as well through their dock station. If they type in for Zoom, I'll get the same thing. When you first sign into the client, you will sign in with the SSO. Like I said, as an NMHU faculty member, you have a Zoom account profile with us. You'll just type in NMHU. You will have to log into the portal just so it can authenticate your credentials. You can launch Zoom and then it'll take you back to that client. It's important that you use Zoom client because that is what allows you to make sure that your Zoom is up to date. And I have those instructions here. We'll share these instructions at the end of the session as well. Like I said, if a student or a faculty member signs in through their Zoom client and joins a meeting using the meeting ID number, it should bypass the waiting room, correct, Adele? Marcy?
Yes, that's correct. If they're signed in, they should be recognized as an authenticated user, like a Highlands user, and they should bypass that waiting room.
So this is another way for them to bypass those security features because they are authenticated users for Highlands. This does run up to the issue where I know professors like to have guest speakers. Unfortunately, since they are not parts of our NMHU domain, they will have to either be automatically let in through the waiting room or need that passcode to join your meeting. Yeah. So that's for Zoom client. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Day, just to real quick for everyone, we will be having a session Monday afternoon, pretty much all afternoon. We'll keep our Zoom link open. If anyone has any questions about Zoom or would like to do a practice session or anything, we'll be sending out a global, it'll probably come out from me, this is Adele, with some tips and reminders for the start of the semester, and we will have the link for that.
And then before I turn it over to Patricia for the Brightspace, just one more thing. So some of you may have GAs and TAs for your course. Like I said, students do only have a 40-minute license. And I do know that GAs, TAs need about an hour or 2 hours for office hours. They can get upgraded, but you will need to send an email to us requesting that. And what we will do, we'll upgrade their license and then we'll remove the license at the end of the semester. Okay, and then so I'm gonna go ahead and send it over to Patricia if she's ready for Brightspace. There is some Zoom in Brightspace, but I just wanna allow her to present what she has, and if there's anything, I'll cover, okay?
Thank you, Day.
Hi, everyone. I don't have a presentation created. I think some of you were in my last session as well. So I'm just here for any questions you may have.
Morgan had a question.
Okay.
Yeah, hi. I had a question about different sections in Brightspace. Like I have a course that is showing up 3 times in Brightspace. And I think it's because it's like different sort of, it's like the same class times, but it's the way the registration is set up. It's like 3 different sections. Is there a way to merge those?
Actually, Adele, do you know? I don't know anything on the back end on how those are created.
Sure. Yeah, I can respond to that.
Okay.
So Morgan, what you're going to want is to get your course sections cross-listed. And you want to do that before you start building your course shells. And that actually goes through the registrar's office. And so you can send an email to Andrea Crespin, it's A-R Crespin, C-R-E-S-P-I-N. Marcy, if you don't mind dropping that in the chat.
Yes, I will.
Thank you, at nmhu.edu, and let her know the CRNs, that's the 4-digit code for the class, for that section, I mean, each one, and she will cross list those for you. And then once you have that, you're going to see one single course shell, and then you can build your course content in there.
Great, thanks. That makes sense. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. So we did have a couple of items that we wanted to make sure were covered regarding Brightspace. And so I don't know, Marcy, if you, or Patricia, if you wanted to go over basic navigation in Brightspace, if you'd want to, go over that with faculty.
Okay, I can, let's see. I'm logged into mine right now. So do you see it now?
Yes, we do.
Okay, awesome. So this is the screen you'll see when you log into Brightspace. So all the courses, for example, that I've been working on, they'll pop up first. And within Brightspace, you can also pin them. So whichever ones you want to be at the top, this 3 little dots here, you can pin and unpin. So those ones will always be at the top of your list. I'm not too sure how they show up now. So if you've taught any in the spring or before that, if those are listed, where those are listed. So you can move all of your fall courses towards the top. So up here you'll find Brightspace Help, Zoom, FAQ, additional resources, and then also the subscription training, which provides faculty with, a variety of webinars, documentation on use. So it really is a great tool. If you have any questions, it's usually something you can find training, but that is a different register. Here can show you how to do those steps. So within your courses, once you go within, they all have, let's see, my internet is working a little slow. So sorry. Can you see
Patricia,
the screen?
you might want to turn off your camera. There you go.
Okay, is that helping?
That's better, yes.
I'm having not so great internet connection. Okay, so within Brightspace, you'll see up here, right, the nav bar, and then this is kind of like the mini nav bar. And you can email, announcements will pop up here. You can chat. And then right, you have your content assignments, discussions, quizzes. Within content, and this is my sample sandbox, so there could be a variety of from different courses that I've been testing. Adele, my internet is not working.
I think it actually
Is it
froze.
Stuck. I don't have, it's been not the greatest today. Let's see.
Okay. Marcy, how do you want to proceed? Do you want to continue with basic navigation?
Yeah, I can take over basic navigation. Patricia, if I miss anything or if you want to bring up anything, feel free to jump in. So I'm going to stop you from sharing, and I'll go ahead and share mine, okay?
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I have mine open. So here, Patricia, this is the Brightspace homepage. IT announcements will go here at the beginning. Like she said, there's a chat and a few others here. For your classes, any classes will be that you're teaching will be marked here. Either you're teaching, you're a student, anything will be here or here in my courses. So you can see the my courses. I'll go into my sandbox. I have that set up as a class. So as an instructor, you can post announcements here at the beginning. I have a welcome. I do usually use this sandbox for student orientation. So these are incoming freshmen or new students to Highlands. If you go into content, here's where we recommend you put your syllabus, any instructions, anything like that, as well as the Zoom link. So I know there was quite a few of you that were asking how to create the Zoom links for your classes. I'll go ahead and demonstrate how to do a Zoom link. So we'll go ahead and add a module. And as you can tell, I already have several that are Zoom links. So I'll do Zoom link DD for development days. It'll open it up. We recommend doing the Zoom links this way, just so it'll get the correct class information. So if you go to existing activities, you'll go to external learning tools and then click on Zoom. That automatically creates a Zoom link, and it'll have the information for the Zoom link in the Zoom dashboard for you. So if I click on it, and then if I hit join a meeting, it'll take me in and I'd be the host. I won't click on it now because it will kick me out of this meeting. And we do have instructions on how to create Zoom links in Brightspace. I believe they did share those in the chat as well.
Yes, and then if I could mention, Marcy, it is very important that you join your own Zoom link right away after creating it, because the first person to click on that link becomes a host. And so if it's a student who claims the host, it gets a little bit troubling after that. And just to let you know, students did begin to have access to their Brightspace courses today. So once you create that link, automatically join it, so that way you can claim host.
Okay, thank you, Day. So I'll go ahead and go back to, oops, not Brightspace Home. Okay, so here in the sandbox, so you had content and then you have assignments. So there's a few different ways to do assignments. You can create a new assignment. If you've taught a class before, you can roll over content from previous classes. Again, there's instructions for those. I believe Day has those in the chat. But if you notice, all these assignments look slightly different. So this ribbon looking one is the grade. It has a grade item tied to it. This one with the binoculars, or this one with the file and the binoculars, that is for Turnitin. So if you want to have your students' assignments checked through Turnitin, you can set up, it'll do originality check, some grammar, depending on what you set up. Sorry about that. There is also, you can hide it from students, like if you're working on it and don't want the students in there trying to do the assignment while you're working on it. That's what this eye with the line through it is. It's to have it hidden. And I'll go ahead and set up a new assignment real quick to show you Turnitin. So it does have to have a name. If I could spell. I'll do. So you'll give it a name. You can add an attachment with instructions, what type of assignment it's going to be, if it's an individual assignment or group assignment. If it is a group assignment, you do have to have groups set up beforehand so that all members of the group get credit for that assignment being turned in. Submission type, if you want them to upload a file, a Word document, PDF, video, anything like that, you will need to do a file submission. Otherwise, they can only submit text. If you do on paper, they have to physically turn it in. It's a hard copy or observed in person. So if you're doing presentations, anything like that. Once you set the submission type, you cannot change it for the assignment. You would either have to create a new, delete this one and create a new one with the correct submission type. If it's going to be a semester-long paper where you're going to be having them turn in multiple drafts, I would recommend doing unlimited submissions. If it's one assignment that you emailed them the instructions and they have to answer and they only get one chance, do one file. So they'll only be able to submit once and that's it. And then the submissions, you can keep all of them, the most recent, or only one is allowed. So if only one is allowed, the first one they submit, that's the only thing they get. You can set up the category. Categories can be assignments, grades, discussions, quizzes, anything like that, any category you choose to set up. And then the score, you do have to enter something in there. I usually just go 100 score out of, so it's 100 out of 100. You can tie the grade to it here. If you create it here, it'll automatically show in the grade book when you create a new grade. So restrictions. Here, you can hide it from users while you're working on it. If you do a due date, it'll show the due date, and then it'll still allow it after that, but it will mark it as being late. If you do the start and end date, so I want it to start right now and end whenever the due date is, or you can set this as a different date and time as the due date. It's up to you. So if I do it for, I'll put it for tomorrow at 2:25, they'll be able to access it. Once I do that, it'll be accessible to students at that time only. They won't be able to see it before and they won't be able to see it after. So here in Turnitin, if you want to set up the Turnitin to have it graded, you'll check this box and enable grade mark for this folder, so for this assignment, and then you can do the different setups. So automatically transfer the grade to Brightspace as a draft or manually transfer it. That's up to you. Enable originality check. Here, this is completely up to the professor. Allow learners to see Turnitin similarity scores in their submission folder. So do you want your students to be able to see what their originality check came up back as or not? If you don't check this, they won't be able to see it. You're the only one that will be able to see it as a professor. And then all originality checks on all submissions. This is more if you are allowing multiple attempts. So here, if you go to more options, you can do the standard papers. So any Word documents, PDFs, it'll check those. Allow submissions of any file type. Again, that's Word, PDF, Pages for Mac, anything like that. If you want to do the grammar checking for grammar errors, you can do English dictionary or UK, or you can do both. That's up to you. Compare against student paper repository. So if they are submitting the same paper multiple times, the first one will have the correct originality check. After that, anything that's compared to the student paper repository will come back as 100% plagiarized, because it's comparing it to itself. So if you're going to have them submitting multiple drafts or multiple versions of it, I highly recommend you uncheck this one. If it's only one submission that they're turning in, then yeah, you can leave that checked, and it'll check it against other classes as well. It'll check current and archived websites and periodicals, journals, and publications. You can choose what to exclude here. Since I did check the box on Brightspace itself to allow students to view the similarity report, you don't have to check it again here. And then you can always save these settings for the next time you require turn it in for an assignment. So you'll just hit submit there. And then save and close, and it'll bring up a new assignment. So that new assignment does have turn it in. Are there any questions so far?
Marcy, you have a few questions in chat. Let's see. We need to follow up with Kristen Bogda regarding a lockdown browser issue. So we'll reach out to Kristen. Carol Zetter is asking about adding a publisher to a new course to make it import grades automatically, like McGraw-Hill.
Okay. I will have to look at that one. I think I can do that, but I'll have to double check to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. So I'll reach out to you after this, okay?
Okay, Morgan Barnard asked, can you make courses unavailable as we finish things up?
So courses are only available to students 1 week before classes start and 1 week after. And then as the professor, you'll always have access to your past classes, just in case you want to move anything over, or a student's contesting a grade, anything like that. But as you view the different courses and go through the different semesters, the older classes will be pushed further to the bottom. You can also pin your current courses to the top of your course list. And so only your current classes will be there. Just remember, you will have to change those out every semester.
Yeah, one of the nice things about keeping access to those previous courses is being able to roll over course content, right, Marcy?
Yes. Like I said, I don't... Go ahead.
If I can just add real quick, Marcy, sorry about that. So like Morgan was saying, is that he doesn't want them students into the course. Unfortunately, I think it's an automatic where they get access, but what you can do is hide your content from the students.
Correct.
So that way they don't see everything right away. They only see what you want them to see. But it has to be done for each subject, correct? For each
yeah, you'd have to hide each discussion, each assignment, each quiz, anything like that until you're ready to share them with the students.
There's also, I'm sorry if I miss any in the chat. There's quite a few questions. Arcadius is asking, will Turnitin scan only against NMHU submissions? Will it also try to match the submissions with internet sources?
So yes, it will match with internet sources as long as you have that that checkbox in the settings checked. So it will check current and archived web content, as well as any periodicals, journals, and any publications that are online. Okay.
We've got one. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Marcy.
Go ahead. I was going to ask if there was any more questions.
Monica had a question. Is Pulse still a good app for students using Androids?
Yes, as far as I know.
Yeah, it is. I met with D2L last or earlier this week, and it's still a good app. We honestly don't push it as much as we should, but that's where students can go and see assignments and quizzes that are coming up. It's not as robust as actually logging into Brightspace, but it's nice for kind of keeping track of some things.
Okay, so any other questions? Just so I can get through a little bit more. Patricia, like I said, if you need, feel free to jump in.
I believe
I'm like, if
Patricia,
you're still here.
I think she had to go to her next meeting.
Okay.
Marcy, I know we have our Zoom session Monday 1 to 5, right? Do we want to possibly open that up to Brightspace as well? Just because there are a lot of questions and we haven't, had a whole lot of time to go over Brightspace.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Yeah, that'd probably be the best idea, because Brightspace, I still got to go through discussions, quizzes, and grades. I know I won't get to rolling over content and other stuff, so I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay, sounds good.
So discussions, I'll be going through the next few very quickly, just so we can have times for questions. So discussions, you can post the topic, what you want them to discuss. It can be the whole article here. And then here is where the students would be doing the actual discussions. So to edit the topic, open topic, everyone can access this topic and its contents. Or if you're going to do group settings, group discussions, allow anonymous posts. That's up to you. It doesn't have to be. And users must start a thread before they can read or reply to anyone else. So they have to post their thoughts about it before they can see anybody else's. Again, you can set up the same restrictions, anything like that. And you can lock the topic so it's only available for a certain amount of time. Again, once you have everything set up the way you want it, save and close. What else? You can do as many discussion topics as you'd like. I just did the same one twice. Quizzes, same thing. You can set up your quizzes. Again, you can hide them from students. You can set them to be graded automatically.
Marcy, before you get too far ahead, there is a request on forums. So if you could make a little time for that, to show how you can get 2 different forums going.
Okay, I can go back to that real quick because that way I don't forget. Okay, so you can have, you do a new forum. So again, you have to create a new forum. You can either select to do a new topic by the same title, or you can do a different topic. So And then I'll do just forum. Topics, do this, and then save and close. So you'll have, here's the first topic, the first forum. Like I said, you can add the whole thing in the forum. And then here's the last forum, the one I just created. You can adjust in what order they're in. There's a few different ways. And then you can add a topic later on, or you can do the topic the same thing as earlier. So group 1. So if you do the groups, you can do it. So I have a testing group. They're the only ones, whoever's in this testing group are the only ones that are allowed to add discussions to this topic. I'll do this. Let's see, here's the reorder. So I can do reorder, and I'll put this one to 1. And that'll be the first one on the list now. So this group is the only one that can see it. If I do another topic and just do individuals, open topic, you'll see the 2 different topics here for the same discussion or the same forum. Did that answer the question? Okay.
I haven't seen anything yet in the,
Okay.
yes, she says, I think so.
Okay.
Marcy, and I think they already answered it, but I just want to confirm if someone records a video, like if an instructor records a video in discussions, if they were to roll over content, does that get copied over?
That should get copied over.
Okay, they're saying that they're doing that, but it never transfers the video or audio. We'll
Okay.
probably have to do some testing on that.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll go back to quizzes unless there's any other questions. Okay, so quizzes, you can set up a few different quizzes here. So quiz 1, I'll go ahead and edit. If you have like a test bank from McGraw-Hill, Pearson, and a few others, you can import those directly to Brightspace. You can create your own questions here directly in Brightspace as well. And there's a few other ways. We use Respondus, which I have to get the license for. And that would be a whole nother training. But quiz 1, so here's the questions. You can add or edit questions here. Let's see. You can import here, upload a file. These are if you have them from test banks. This is the easiest way. Or if you want to browse a question library that you'd have to set up beforehand. Close this. And then you can add a new question. So I'll do a true or false, and you can adjust how many points that, each one gets. So it's 5 points, and then save. This is a preview of what it's going to look like. Oh, we have to select the correct answer so it can be graded right away.
So, Marcy, when you get a moment, you're getting a couple questions, and I don't know if you're ready to address them, but just let me know.
Okay, let me get through this. So once you're done with the questions, you'll go back to the settings for quiz 1. You can do the descriptions of the quiz, an introduction, anything like that. Allow hints. These are all personal preferences for your quiz. Again, with restrictions, you can set up if it's hidden from students, any dates that you want it restricted to, anything like that. If you require lockdown browser, I can show you how to do that. You will need to go through the lockdown browser dashboard, which I have to remember where that is. So you can do it to where it automatically grades the quizzes. So automatic grade, allow attempts to be set as graded immediately upon completion. You can export them automatically to your grade book. And then how many attempts are allowed. You can do unlimited and up to 10 if you're going to set a number. It keeps the highest attempt if it's multiple attempts, or you can do the first attempt, average out the attempts, anything like that. So go ahead and save and close this one. So the lockdown browser dashboard is up here. Once you're in the quizzes tab. And here's it's an online tutorial, and you can continue. And here's where you'll set up the settings you want for lockdown browsers. If it's required for the quiz, if it's gonna be monitoring their camera, or if they have to check in to make sure it's them, anything like that. I may have to hold off on showing you. I think it's updating the lockdown browser that I have. Adele, go ahead and we'll go with the questions.
Okay, so we've got one asking, could we get access to create tests in Respondus?
Yes, so that like I said, it's a license. It's the software you would have to install on your desktop. If you'd like, anybody that wants it, reach out to the help desk and we can get that a meeting scheduled with you to get that installed and some training done on it.
You've got another, do you have time to show the grading setup? I'm trying to weight grades this time and wondered how that needs to be set up.
Okay, so if you go to gradebook or grades, so I have already set up the gradebook for this sandbox. If you want to do weighted grades, let's see. I gotta remember how to do, schemes. Here we go. Or not. I'm not very familiar. Oh, new scheme. Here we go. Sorry. I haven't done grades in a long time. Um, grading two. So I'll do grading 2. You can set up the colors. I don't think this is what I wanted. Yeah, no. Sorry. Like I said, I haven't done grades in a long time. We may have to have you speak to Patricia on how to do the grading specifically, because like I said, I haven't done grades in a long time and I'm not too familiar with them.
So unless I missed anything, Marcy, I think that was it from the, actually there was one more asking about how long it would take to set up a third-party widget. If you wanna discuss that.
As long as we have the widget, like the third party set up already, I know we have McMillan, I believe McGraw-Hill and Pearson set up already. If it's one of those, it takes about 20 minutes. If it's a new third-party vendor that we're setting up everything for the first time, I'm not sure. It'd probably take me about an hour just because it'd be the first time I'm doing it. If that answers the question.
I think so. Thank you, Marcy.
Okay.
I'm gonna drop contact information for support for Patricia, for CTE, and also for the ITS help desk. I'll put that in the chat. We're just about out of time, Marcy, but if you want to make some announcements about adding like GAs and TAs to a course.
Yes. So if anybody has any GAs, TAs, or SILs through Automos that they would like added to their course to have access in Brightspace, those requests will need to go through the registrar's office through Andrea, so she can add them through Banner. ITS can't add or enroll or unenroll anybody from any live classes or any classes in general. That all has to go through the registrars. If you would like your classes cross-listed or uncross-listed, again, those would have to go through Andrea at the registrars. And we do recommend you get those requests in as soon as possible, because once you start adding content in and they cross-list those classes, anything you have added will be removed. A new course shell will be added, and if you've already had students turning assignments in, anything like that, that will be lost. Let's see. I think that was all we had. Oh, incompletes. If you have any students that are receiving an incomplete for the course, you will need to give them an incomplete grade at the end of the semester or at the end of the course. And then that'll start a process to get that course extended for that particular student. And again, that process does start with the registrars. So you do have to mark them as having an incomplete for the class.
Marcy, before we close, I did want to mention a couple of resources that we do have. And so we have 24/7 support through D2L, that's the company that owns Brightspace. And if you go into Brightspace, scroll all the way to the bottom to technical support, you'll see options for contacting 24/7. You can call them, you can do chat with them. That's kind of how we prefer to work with them. And so they can help a lot with Brightspace issues. So if you run into any issues there, please reach out to them or us, of course. And then there's also subscription training. You should see a widget when you log into the the Brightspace, into Brightspace and get into the homepage, you'll see how to set up your subscription training. And their steps are a little bit tedious. Please reach out to us, if you run into any issues and you need help with it. They have on-demand training, they have live training sessions, they have recordings, a number of things. Anything you have questions about, I'm sure they have information there. So that's actually where we go if we don't know how to do something. So. All right, well, are there any questions for us? Go ahead, Marcy.
I was just gonna say I'm adding Andrea's email to the chat again, if I could spell it right. If anybody does need it. There we go. Sorry, my son's excited. He just got out of class. Any other questions before we end?
Yeah, I'll wait for you, Adele. I'll ask you a question.
Okay, Melanie, I'll send you, or yeah, we'll just stop the recording at the end of this. Thank you, everyone, and reach out to us if you need anything, and be on the lookout for an email from me with reminders and the Zoom link for Monday.
One more thing, if I could ask of everybody, if you do email us now, please give us some time and be patient with us. We are being flooded with requests and inquiries, so we're getting to them as fast as we can.
Thanks, everyone. Good luck this semester.
Thank you.